been a while since been in here. The significance of Horseshoe Lake in itself is absolutely incredible. It's paved the way that thousands of carp anglers fish week in, week out on these type of venues across the country. To think how many carp are caught and the actual sort of grassroots of that and that type of fishing has pretty much stemmed from here. I thought it was about time that I come back up and have another go at fishing Horseshoe, doing the fishing that I love. That bait fishing on a small area with multiple rods, trying to winkle out a few carp. I absolutely love that fishing. And on this session as well, Max Whitehall's coming to fish with me, and he has also himself implemented this style of fishing into a lot of his carp fishing nowadays. And throughout this video, we'll explain to you this style of fishing and how to get the best out of it, so you can put that into your own fishing and hopefully catch some really nice carp yourself.
Look at that on that carp.
Oh, you're in. No, he's done yet.
There he is, 40 pounds.
This lake is without a doubt one of the biggest challenges.
Wow, how about that then?
Yes, mate. Look at that. 40 pound. Such a special venue.
How's that for a start?
Look, boy slipping back. There we go, look at that.
Presentation ensured by using hyperbox on soft hinge.
Oh, I can't wait to get that.
So around about the time when I started fishing 3 rods on a spot accurately was a few moons ago now, because I was very eager. I was asking my dad to take me a lot more, and then obviously linear was gaining popularity, and it got to the point where I was just pestering my dad to get me a set of 3 rods, a set of 3 buzzers, rather than just a little feeder rod. And it's just stemmed from there really that, you know, you go and watch these anglers and you'd see 3 rods on a spot and baiting up that was so precise on a certain area, and they would be getting not just one bite, you know, double takes and stuff like that. And it really fulfilled me with like excitement, having seen it from a young age. And from then on, it's just, that's the certain style of fishing that I've taken on as such. You put 3 rods on a spot, you bait up and you keep topping the bait up, and then the more effort you put in, the bigger reward you will get. And from then on, it's really stuck with me. And yeah, I would say linear is where I set out doing my 3 rods on a spot. It is without a doubt my most favourite way of fishing. Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Is it a carp? Oh dear!
So I got here yesterday morning, and I do live quite local to Horseshoe, so getting down here early in the morning. Bart was a little bit later on in the afternoon, so I got down here. I had a good couple of laps around the lake. I just wanted to make sure we haven't had any swims shut this session, so I wanted to have a good couple of laps around the lake. Horseshoe, if you're not familiar with it, you've got Winter Bay, which is behind me, Summer Bay, which is in front of me, and then, like, as they call it, the stock pond area up towards the far end of the lake. So in effect, it is set out into 3 different lakes. So I've been speaking to a few people on my walk round, getting a bit of information. Winter Bay did seem to be the place that was doing the most bites, so we've plotted up in, this is winter disabled, I believe, and Bart's over in Choppers. And yeah, as I said, got here yesterday, and me being extra eager, I wanted to get the rods out, having seen so many fish on the walk round. I got 2 rods out on the normal spot, and I just put a little bag to a couple of showing fish last night, and then lo and behold, first thing this morning, around 4 AM, I had my first Horseshoe carp, which is, I was so happy, but unfortunately, we didn't get it on camera, and it was 31 pound as well. So first fish, 30 pounder, you can't grumble at that. So yeah, I'm more than happy with that. And hopefully throughout the duration of this trip, I can show you a couple of more Horseshoe carp that reside in here.
Well, good morning. Literally just had a bite on the middle rod. It's absolutely gone into meltdown. But yeah, we're into our first fish of the session, and we are down at the mega iconic venue that is Horseshoe Lake in Lechlade. It is probably one of the most famous venues in the UK. Steeps of carp fishing history here. And yeah, place that I've not fished for a while. I used to fish it quite a lot, and yeah, it has taught me a lot about carp fishing. And it is nice. I've actually caught this fish on a rig that I used to use here years ago, and I've not used this rig since fishing here. And I thought, do you know what, I'm going to put one of the old classics on. And as always, fishing here is produce the goods, and it's like being in a time warp. It's like going back, catching lovely scaly fish from Horseshoe, and that is a lovely carp. Yeah, magic. Oh, brilliant. We're off the mark, and we got one in the bag. I'll get my mat set up, and we'll have a little look. In the sort of late 90s, when I grew up fishing here, that makes me sound quite old. But no, like in those sort of 98, 99, 2000, I used to absolutely love coming up to Horseshoe. Like there's no better feeling than getting in the van with my old man, and it's like, yeah, we're off to Horseshoe for the weekend, whether that be a junior fishing or just fishing up here. Just the buzz around carp fishing at that time, like, you know, when was the Carp Society? That was early 80s. The Carp Society was actually founded by Tim Paisley and Greg Fletcher, and from then it just sort of around that time carp fishing just boomed, and it was just mega, absolutely mega. And it has paved the way, like especially like this lake is responsible for some of the best anglers that are still fishing. You know, they are still fishing today. They're still like, they are so talented, such like good fishermen, and a lot of their roots were sort of developed here. It was probably sort of where I first saw the importance of, you know, fishing multiple rods in a small area where you're feeding, whether that be 2 rods or 3 rods, on a small area, as small as you could get it, as tight as you could get it, putting your bait in over the top. This place is massively responsible for the way that we even fish today. It's mega. That's a lovely carp to get off the mark with. Bang on 25 pounds. Yeah, exactly what I'd expect from a Horseshoe carp, really. Absolute perfect fish. It's wicked. There's loads of these in here as well. You can certainly rack a few of these up when they come over you. Nice start, beautiful. Take a few of these this trip. Make me very happy. Thank you very much. Very nice. Right, time to fling that rod back out quickly. I'm about to put this rod back out, and I just thought I'd just touch a little bit just on what I'm actually sort of not fishing over, but like the way that I like to fish this sort of venue. And you want to create like a competition for food, and the best way to do that is to find the nicest area that you can find for the fish to feed on, because obviously they don't want to feed in like loads of junk, loads of big piles of stuff that makes it really hard for them to actually get the food. If you've got like a nice sort of like little polished area that they can feed on really easily, they're going to be happy and feed there a lot harder. That being said, that's not the case in this swim. You know, we're not in a perfect scenario. I've had a good plumb up when I got here for a few hours and I couldn't find that sort of area that I was looking for. So what I've done is I've had a plumb around and I found the best area that I could find. And there is a bit of weed on there, a bit of silkweed, which is nothing, it's horseshoe. There's always been a lot of silkweed. There's always been a lot of, you know, blanket weed, that sort of thing. But if you fish the right rig over it, then you are fishing, you can fish quite effectively. And, you know, we used to fish here off of a barrow and you chase the fish up and down the far bank and you wouldn't always have the time to plumb up and find that perfect spot. So you just fish your rig so you could fish where the fish were, because not everywhere where the fish were was a perfect spot. That being said, I'm going to flick this rod back out. And I'm only fishing 25 rod lengths, which on these gravel pits a lot of the time, you can imagine, you know, carp fishing's mega popular. These swims always see anglers, they're quite convenient swims. So there's always a bit of bait going in. The swims either side of me are mega popular. And this one, this swim that I'm in is called Choppies. There's a bloke back in the day always used to call Choppy, and he always used to fish in here. And it was just named after him. But yeah. So that's the spot I got. It's just a little bit of silkweed. Not ideal, but good enough to catch some fish.
So in an ideal situation, I would like to find a spot that is clear, but with horseshoe, you're faced with a lot of blanket weed. So I've clipped up to start with at 100 yards and I've progressively worked my way back to a spot that I believe is clearer than what I was finding at 100 yards. So I'm clipped up at 80 yards now, very similar to Bart next door. There is a little bit of blanket weed, but there's also not as much as what I found out at 100 yards. So what I've done is I spent quite a lot of time yesterday making sure I was extra confident with the spot that I have found, and it did produce a bite this morning, so that is a very good sign. I'm also in two minds. I want to find a really clear spot, but having speaking to different people, knowing that they feed on the blanket weed, I'm really happy with the spot that I found. So I'm going to stop talking, I'm going to get these rods back out and hopefully catch another horseshoe carp. The first rod has gone out there absolutely perfect, right on that spot where I had the bite from this morning. Now it's time to put the middle rod out. And yeah, I'm fishing two rods on this spot, purely for the fact that it is, I think it's only suitable for two. Having a good lead around yesterday, like I mentioned, I've chucked to the left, I've chucked to the right. I've also, you know, I've done all around, I've checked every single part, the proximity of the spot, and I just think personally 3 rods would just be too much. You're just going to cause yourself more trouble throughout the duration of your trip. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to put this rod out now as my horizon marker. There's a bivvy over there, and there's the actual swim, which is called White Sign or White Post, which I believe. So I've got my right hand rod, which is on the bivvy, and then my middle rod is now going to go on this white post. So hopefully I'll do it in motion. Oh, that is perfect. That's gone right where I wanted it to. So as I mentioned, I'm dead happy with how them 2 rods have gone out, but I haven't talked about my 3rd rod. So my left-hand rod, I'm just floating about with a zig. I've gone for a 6. I've got a couple of maggots tipped on the top of it just for a bit more, you know, movement and colour as such. So with that one, I'm not clipped up with that. I'm just banging it to where the fish are showing, obviously within my water. And with that one, I'm just going to keep floating around with it all day. So the rods are out there, so let's see what happens.
Just sort of sitting here, pondering. It's gone a little bit quiet now after catching that fish earlier. And I've just been looking, sort of scouting the water to see if I could see any fish showing. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of like touch on sort of this fishing. I know I mentioned sort of about like creating a competition for food within the baited area and all of that. And there's a sort of a couple of reasons around like the way I like to fish like this. Firstly, I'm quite a big believer of like just trying to fish the right area of your peg. Like, don't get me wrong, if you had, say, an island over here, a reed bed on the far side and a snag tree down to the right hand side, I would consider, you know, splitting my rods up, having a rod here, there, and fishing a few different spots. But this sort of fishing to me it's about maximizing your chances. And, you know, I spoke about sort of like finding the right feeding area, and once you've found what you believe to be the best area within your peg, to me, I wouldn't see why you'd want to fish rods elsewhere, put bait elsewhere, and potentially split up any fish that are coming in your peg. Or, you know, you decide to put 2 rods on that spot, but you've still got bait over here on this spot. To me, I would want to find the best spot I can fish on and sort of put all my eggs in that basket, because at the end of the day, you're fishing like these gravel pits, like this lake is massive, and you want to sort of just create that sort of maximum chance. And you might miss opportunities if you've got bait spread about here, there and everywhere. You use your feed to get the fish in your peg. So like your hook baits will pick out the fish once you've got the fish in your peg, so you just need to get the fish into your peg, get them on your baited area, then you can, you know, then you can figure out the sort of the chances. And with the 3 rods on a spot kind of mentality, that is not just for absolutely clubbing it, for catching like oodles of fish. You know, I would still fish that way if I was just looking to scratch a bite. Like, I don't consider this swim to be a particularly great swim. You know, it does fish, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's an area that the carp just love to be and that just live here. Like, you know, they're like residential fish. There's certainly pegs like that on this lake, and I don't consider this one of them, but you can catch fish from here. But yeah, I would still use that tactic to catch 1 or 2, or like, you know, just to even get me out of trouble. And that's sort of like what I'm trying to get across to you, is that it is just a really, really solid tactic, and that it is caught, I dread to think how many carp it has caught carp anglers in the UK or across the world. Like, it is a phenomenal tactic. I remember growing up, like, just spodding and spodding and spodding. Like, we used to use these spods. They were made by John Bryn. I think Foster's of Birmingham, a tackle shop. They used to make some. And all I can say is, like, thank you for the Spom. I mean, it was painful. Like, you had to put as much bait in as you could to hold those shoals of fish. I mean, I remember when we used to fish here. So, and we used to walk our rods up the grass, clip your rig on, say, a tent peg behind your bivvy, and you'd walk 97 paces up the bank, clip it up, wind it back in, and then go and cast it back out. But you might have a bite on your rod whilst you're at the bank. So obviously, to overcome that, then you all of a sudden you've got your distance sticks. Not because people, you know, we didn't want to know how many wraps we were fishing, but we had to stay in the swim whilst your rods were fishing. So unless you wound your other rod in, then walked your rod back up the bank, and then recast both rods, this is now being developed that we can stay in our swim, quickly wrap our rods up, and just clip it up, whack it back out. And again, that's paved the way that we fish today. Is like, you physically had to overcome the problem yourself. Like, for example, like when you want to know what the bottom's like, you know, we made our own grappling leads, sort of, so we could see what was on the bottom, to find, you know, what we're fishing over. Everything's there now for us, isn't it? Like, everything's on the shelf, everything's, you can, a click of a button, you can have the problem solved for you, so to speak. And, you know, which is great. That's absolutely brilliant, because it saved everyone a load of aggro. But it's still, I just find it personally nice that I had to fish through those fishing situations and figure that information out for myself. And I think that's played like a huge part in my own fishing. If you said to me, like, oh, like what's the most important piece of your fishing kit? I'd say it would be my spod rod, like without a shadow of a doubt. A gripper lead, some marker sticks, a braided rod so you can feel the bottom, what you're fishing over, and your spod to put your bait out. To me, that is the first thing that's going in the van. That rod and my bait, 100%.
I'm just clipping up my spom for tonight's bombardment of bait, and I thought I'd just give you a little run through, sort of, well, basically just say to you that this is probably your most important item fishing venues like this, and that is, obviously your spod and marker rod. Here I got a 12-foot Spom-X rod and a 12,000 XE reel, and then I haven't gone super light on my spom braid. I've gone for just the original 20 pound 0.18 spom braid, and this is more than enough to cover me for every scenario that I'm going to be faced with on this lake. Obviously I've got a shock leader on there as well. I've got a little spom shock leader. I always use a large spom just because a lot of the time on these venues you get like a little bit of sort of side wind almost, and by putting that little bit of extra bait in that spom, when you hit the clip it doesn't sort of kite round in the side wind, just keeps that direction nice and straight just to tighten up the line as you hit the clip. And yeah, that's it. Obviously I'll put my finger stool on before I spom up. You're going to use this a lot fishing venues like this. This is your workhorse, so it's worth having a decent setup. But yeah, that's all clipped up ready for a little bit of a freshen up with a bit of extra bait ready for tonight.
So we're approaching late afternoon now, and as you can see, I bent into a carp. Bit of a different take this one. Don't think he's a tench. Absolutely bouted off. I was gonna say it feels decent, but they all feel decent. Might be a bit of weed out there on the line because we've had a lot of wind today. But we've just been stood here chatting about getting some bait out for the evening, redoing the rods. So it's come at the right time, really. Yeah, really happy to be bent into this one. And get this one on camera. Oh! Wow! No pressure. Pressure's for tyres. Oh, he's lovely. Don't do that now. Oh, cheers, Bart. Thank you, mate. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Beauty. Well happy with that. Wow, check him out. Or 28 pounds and 2 ounces of him. My second horseshoe carp, and finally managed to get one for the camera. And like I mentioned earlier, with 2 rods on the spot that I'm fishing, a bit of spom over the top, bit of perseverance. What an absolute beauty. I'm so happy to be holding this one. I'm gonna start fishing horseshoe more often. Oh, bouter. Gonna return him back to his watery home. Oh, what an absolutely incredible fish that is. Come on, mate. You're free to go. There he goes. Oh, what a beauty. So no sooner had I got that fish back, it was time to get the rods back out on the area and some more bait over the top. So with my bait, bit of boilie, love my bloodworm pellets. That's the 2.3mm pellet, 4mm pellet, sweet corn, and a load of manila glug over the top. That just helps bind it all together and helps it sink a lot more in the water column. Then moving over to my naturals, I finally chop up my worm, add some casters, some big old red maggots, and get that out there the same way as I would with my spomming mix. So with the baiting up complete, the rigs that are presented over the top is a good old-fashioned D-rig with a big bunch of maggots over the top. That's got a little bit of zig foam underneath of it. We are faced with a bit of blanket weed. That's going to help it be critically balanced on the lake bed and making it look a lot more presentable. Really happy with my baiting up, and hopefully tonight we can manage to catch another horseshoe carp.
Well, I'm going to have a little recast. We're coming into the evening. I'm going to get me the rods done nice and early, and yeah, get a bit of bait out so we can have a nice bit of food. I want to sit down with Max and have a bit of grub with them, and Ben and Dylan and that. Yeah, it's just a perfect opportunity really, just to mention the fact that I use marker elastics, and I have done since I was about this big, and absolutely love using marker elastics. I've always put a couple of them on the line when I'm fishing, and I'll have a little moan up now. I have said it in the past on a couple of videos, and I've read some of the comments as well. They don't slip, they're brilliant. Like if I was just to rewrap the rod now and put it in a clip and chuck it out, I could go, oh yeah, that's it, the clip nice, boom, it's down on the deck, and put the rod down. Whereas when you're fishing with an elastic marker, you've actually got a visible reference point. So like you can see that if it's a bit windy or whatever it is, if you're just not getting the vibe that that rod is like bang on, you can tighten your line up, you can see where your elastic marker's meant to be. And yeah, for me, it's just an absolute no-brainer. It saves me having to rewrap my rod around those sticks every time, because now I just pick my rod up, I can see my marker, I put it in the clip, I wind it in, I can recast back out. Also, a lot of the time is that obviously when you get a bite, it takes, you know, a couple of rod lengths of line or whatever it is. When you start pulling the fish back in, I just clip it up and then I'm ready to go. I haven't got to rewrap a rod. It's super, super duper fast. It's always served me really well. I think, well, I can't even remember the last time one ever elastic marker even moved. So yeah, I will show you how to tie one, and I would strongly recommend using it in your fishing because I think they're absolutely brilliant.
So I always put them on my rod, near where my rod tip is, and it's dead simple. You take your short piece of elastic, you lie it parallel to your main line, you create a loop with your fingers around the main line, and then you just simply pass around 4 times, going around the elastic and the main line at the same time, like a 4-turn grinner knot. Pull it down, and when you pull them tight, put them about 2 inches apart. Take your scissors, trim off the ends, leaving about sort of 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters of elastic. Be careful not to cut through your main line. And that's it, dead simple. And you can see that they are really grippy. They don't move anywhere, like what a lot of people think. And they're really efficient for getting the rod back out fishing as quickly as possible.
One of the 3 rods done for the evening. This one's on a 6.5 foot black zigger liner, and I've just fired that sort of just off the side, out past the bait, out into sort of the middle area. It's been the odd fish showing a bit further over, so that could well produce a bite. I've got that line marker on there, like I mentioned, to put them on. And also, when you're not fishing, like clipping it up, you can hear the line marker go out past the rings, so you know that you can sort of judge how far past the bait you're fishing, which is another bonus point of using a line marker. Right, yeah, that's one of the 3 rods. Get the other 2 out. Just having a little check to make sure that I'm happy with the rods. You can see my elastics are inch perfect. yeah, both of those rods are lovely. Yeah, got a nice little spread on them. That's perfect. And they are in for the evening. Now would be a perfect time to mention the difference in spodding, you know, with rigs and spods, and everyone does it a little bit different. So my theory on it all is so when you plumb up with your marker rod, you clip your fishing rods up to exactly how you feel with your lead on the bottom. So if your gravel spot or your area that you found is nicest is at 25 wraps and 3 foot, like mine are there, that is how I clip my rods up. And then sort of rule of thumb for your spod is anything less than 9 foot of water, just clip your spod up exactly the same. Anything over 9 foot, I then start to clip up my spod 1 foot shorter for sort of every 3 foot of water. So like now I'm fishing in 11.5 foot of water where I am at the moment out there. So I've clipped my spod up at exactly 25 rod lengths, and my fishing rods are 25 and 3 foot. So that'll give you, you know, a good starting point. Yeah, and it works for me, so I'm sticking to it. You nearly dragged me in that one.
Just had a lovely hot chocolate. I was just about to get in the bag and doze off. It is quite late. Like I'd already sort of gone to bed. Spoke to the better half and yeah, had hot chocolate. Just led up, took my boots off, got into bed, and she's ripped off my left hander. Not happy. I don't know. Into a fish. It's about midnight. All is quiet. It come over a bit sort of overcast, bit quite windy, bit of rain, and it's sort of like gone all calm now. Heard a couple of fish rattle out, probably in front of Max, to be fair. Yeah, down sort of right, down to my right, and yeah, gotta be honest, I probably wasn't really expecting a bite. I sort of got me eggs in the basket for a morning bite, if anything, really. So this one is very welcome. Tell you what is nice, the old rigs, my rigs that I used to use on here years and years ago. Probably not used them anywhere else, to be fair. Never really come across sort of the weed in a lot of lakes that you do get in here. So it's just nice and simple. It just works. And the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You see me like dipping my little tip there, flicking it up. That's an old classic. Just see, you can flick the line off the water and just see where the fish is. Keep an eye on it. Hey. Oh yeah, he's a good 20. Might have to change my hook bait because that is the second one on the pink hook bait. That yellow one hasn't gone yet. And they're like sort of vice versa. I had the first one on the pink but on the right hander. And now this pink's on the left hander. So it might be double pink. But that'll be tomorrow because that rod's already out, so they'll have to wait.
Just missed out on 30 pounds of this one, but nonetheless, it's another fish in the bag. It just goes to show really that, you know, fishing that solid tactic, being mega positive in your fishing, can get you a few bites. Brilliant. I get this one back. I'm gonna hop back into my pit. Thank you very much. So after that lovely 29 pounder, I recast the rod and it wasn't out there long. And it went off again. It was a lovely like zip linear, about 20 pounds. So yeah, the old horseshoe fish living up to their name. Absolute stunners. I have had this bite on a zig, sort of just behind the bait and to the right, just sort of like out in open water a little bit. So it's nice that this rod's chipped in with a bite. It's just the yellow that hasn't produced. Oh, it's my favourite colour as well. To be honest, I didn't think, well, I said to Ben, the cameraman, I said like, be lucky to catch 3 fish out of here. So we're not doing too bad just at the minute. Oh, I've got to stand up. Getting old. My age is getting the better of me. I think he's just done the roll of defeat. Can hear him gulp in the water. Come on, baby. Come and have a cuddle. Yay. There's a chunky monkey. Oh yeah. 32.5. That'll do, donkey. There we go, the biggest one of the trip so far. A little over 32 pounds. Yeah, on the old zig. Gotta love a zig, just out there in the middle. I put the zig out because I was a little bit despondent about the peg that I was in, to be honest. It's all coming together quite nicely. I've had 3 fish off the bait, 1 fish on a zig, out to the right, a bit past the bait, but made up to have got 30. We had that 29 earlier in the evening. So yeah, to get 30 pounder, love a 30 pounder, 30. Come on, thank you very much. Let's get you back. He knows the drill. He's off. He's off, he's like textbook. Morning, Max. We've been here 24 hours and we've not actually done a piece to camera the 2 of us, have we yet?
No.
But it's yeah, it's going all right.
It's going really well, mate. Bit of a quiet night for myself, but you've had a good night, to be fair. I mean, with the fish that we were seeing late on last night, it was a good sign that one of us was definitely going to catch. And yeah,
they bounce around in there, mate. Like they just just typical horseshoe. They,
Yeah,
they
that's it,
bounce
innit?
around, come over an angler, he catches a few, the next night they're over someone else. Or...
Yeah. No, I was really happy to get that fish yesterday afternoon, and I did feel really confident going into the night. But like you say, it's typical horseshoe. They bounce off, and you got to make the most of your opportunities when they come over, haven't you? And
Yeah.
exactly what you've done.
Yeah, it's a nice little venue. It's yeah, because this is a new one for you, isn't it?
It
You've
is,
not
yeah.
fished
So
it.
I've not fished it for years and years, and yeah, like I say, never caught a carp out of it. So it's really nice to come somewhere different that is actually local to me and see what it's all about, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
Yeah, it's definitely a yeah, it's a mint venue. I love fishing here. Like, I don't obviously fish it so much now, but like back when I was younger, I used to come here all the time. It was just mega.
We're picking his brains. Been trying to find out what it is, and I've sheeped him right up now. I've gone for the same rigs, bit of a longer rig, so I'm gonna have a rechuck in a bit. I've tied some up over on the bivvy. I've gone for double pink, as you do. A bit longer on the rigs, and hopefully that might make a bit more of a difference for myself. It obviously has for Mark, so yeah, hopefully we can put another one on the bank.
Yeah, hopefully. Like, we've not seen many showing this morning though, have we?
No, we haven't.
But yeah, well, fancy getting a bit of breakfast done?
I do, I'm starving.
Come on.
Near my stomach gurgling.
Come on then.
Post-joint interview. So not long recast and got the rods back out. Put the pink on, and I think this is what it's on, and we're away. I've had a lot of birds diving over me this morning, so hopefully it's not one of them, and I'm gonna make myself look silly, but if this is the case, it just proves if you're fishing with somebody and they're doing what's working, don't be afraid to sheep them up. It works. So he's coming in now. Really happy to get this bite a lot earlier than yesterday afternoon. We're not even in the afternoon yet, so it's good to get a bite late on in the morning. I'm having a really, really good time now. It's really nice to get out of Bart. I don't get to see him that often. To be fair, all the fish that me and Bart have had between us have just been out of this world. They're incredible. Proper Oxfordshire strain of fish. And hopefully I'll get this one in and show you another true example of what Horseshoe has to offer. Gloucestershire. With the water being gin clear, you can see him from quite a way out. And this one doesn't look a bad one. Another mirror. We had any commons yet? No. All mirrors. I love a common though. I'm a common man myself. Really happy, isn't it? Oh, lovely. Leathery looking. Oh, get in there. Oh. What a beauty. Oh.
He's all right, isn't he, Max?
Yeah, he's lovely, him.
It's quite big, isn't it?
Probably good up at 20.
£30.7, I reckon.
Nice.
Yeah, happy days.
That'll do. Lovely. Cheers, mate.
Boom.
Oh, yes. Oh, look at that. Another exceptional horseshoe carp. A smidgen over £30, £30 and 7 ounces. In between me and Bart, we've had 7 fish now, and this is the third 30-pounder. We had one very close last night, but check him out. Just incredible. All the fish that we've had have been in excellent condition. They look amazing. Having a really, really good time. And yeah, catching these along the way, you can't grumble at them, can you? Oh. So no sooner had I got that first fish back that I had this morning, rods were back out on the spot, and we're into another one. Yes, it's like I say, I keep saying it, but I'm really happy. It's really rewarding coming to a new venue, doing very similar tactics to what you do at different venues, and catching carp that you haven't caught before. And it comes back to that famous saying, effort equals reward. So he's not too far away now. He's just under the rod tips here. Hopefully I'll get him in and show you another cracking horseshoe carp. Look at that for a fish. Oh, he's wow cool. Get in there. No. Yes. God, that is a bouter. Check him out. A zip lin. Like 3 different colours on him. Oh, wow. By no means the biggest, but by all means the prettiest. He's got everything going from this one. Slight two-tone, zip linear, nice mouth. That's my idea of a perfect carp. Lovely times. So here is the rig that has been doing the damage for me. I have had a couple of fish on the Medusa rig, but yet again, that is set up the exact same as this rig, and it is the Illusion D rig. Up there with one of my favourite rigs. Every fish that I have hooked has been nailed. So yeah, I'm gonna run you through the components now. So starting with, at the bottom, that is 2 pieces of the standard pop-up Essentials corn. The reason that I've gone for the standard size is purely for the fact that with the size of the hook that I'm using, which is a 6, this just helps it go down really, really slow in the water and help it stay critically balanced. Following on from that, obviously, a rig ring swivel that is attached to the D, and then the Illusion that I am using is the 19 pound main line. I like to buy it in the bulk spool. I also use it on the little spool, the 20 meters, but with the 19, that'll last me all year round. And you do go through a hell of a lot of these when you're having a few bites. So that's why I buy it in a bulk spool. And following on from that, I've got a figure of 8 loop. I just tuck that over the top with a tungsten anti-tangle sleeve, and it really couldn't be any simpler than that. The Illusion D rig.
I think I was 14, just before I was 15, when I won my first, so I won the British Junior Championships, which was like the original one, and I'm fishing the final here. It was absolutely brilliant. Like, I absolutely loved all of that. And it's driven me for years and years, fishing those competitions to try and be the best that I could be at fishing, to catch the most fish. It's just been a wicked time. I've had so many good times fishing, you know, fishing this lake, and sort of as I was growing up doing magazine features, or it was like, oh, where should we go? It's like, yeah, we'll just go to Horseshoe. Absolute no-brainer. Like, go here, spodding bait out with your mate, catching great carp. You know, they're really decent looking, like the carp that live in the Cotswolds are, and you know, they're renowned in the country for some of the best looking fish that you can possibly fish for. Max had that lovely 30 pound 7. Probably one of like the older fish in here, I think. And we were just sort of saying about getting a bit of breakfast on the go that we've not had a chance to do yet. And we've come down to my peg to get the cooker on and actually cook some food. And yeah, one of the rods has gone. It looks really good for it this morning. Like, we've had a, you know, nice weather roll in this morning. Proper decent weather.
What colour's that one on then?
You eat meat? This is going to lower our average, Max, I reckon, this one.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Nice one, isn't he?
Oh no, he's all right actually.
Bouter.
Oh yeah, he's a 20 pounder.
Beautiful. I'm still saying, get in my basket. Here's a lovely 24 pounder. Again, just solidifying, sort of, we got the tactics right. Both of us catching a few fish now, which is what it's all about. Yeah, lovely, good times. Cheers, buddy. I just sort of mentioned how important it is just to make sure that you stand in the sort of same position and be it as accurately as you possibly can. Make sure you hit the clip the same all the time. Just like that. That was like a Blue Peter moment, that. Excellent. Couldn't have done it any better if I tried. Yeah, just make sure you sort of always hit the clip and you sort of like lean the same all the time. Just whatever's comfortable for you, really. But just do what is comfy for you, but just make sure you do the same thing repetitively with whatever rod you're using. And then you'll, yeah, you'll get the gist of it. So in the situation that we're fishing here at Horseshoe this time, there's no perfect gravel spot in this swim that I found. So I've had to come up with something to fish over the weed that's in the peg. And this is a rig that we used to use years ago. And it's a fantastic little rig. It's a really light, supple rig that will fish over sort of almost any debris, any bottom. You can fish it over whatever you'd like. And basically I've got a 16-inch sort of mono boom section. That's 16-pound illusion, which is a fluorocarbon hook length. And then in a little loop on the end of there, I've got a nice micro rig swivel. And to that, I've tied up a size 6 super wide gape to a soft braid. And that's around, I'd say probably about 1.5 inches. And I've tied that with a little loop on the end. And then you can just loop to loop that little braided section to that swivel. And then on the hook itself, I've got some shrink tube and I've actually pushed it right up the shank of the hook, sort of almost to where the bait is. That way, if any bird picks it up, because there are a lot of coots and tufties here, if they pick it up, it'll just reset and come back down without blowing out a piece of hook silicone or a little rig ring, just resetting itself every time until a fish picks it up. What I found sort of over the years, the best hook bait is you want a hook bait that doesn't take on any water, so you keep sort of the same buoyancy within the rig, and that is an artificial bait. I've just got the pop-up corn in pink, and under that I've put a little piece of pink Fox Ziggerliner foam, and then you can see around there I've sort of just trimmed it so it really sinks down nice and slowly, so it'll just settle over anything that's on the bottom. Yeah, really nice and easy to pick up from a fish as well. So if they're feeding over a little bit of weed, it's not too much effort for them to get the hook bait in their mouth. Perfect, and this got us out of trouble on this session.
Here we are again then. Bent into yet another fish. I hate it when that happens. Rolling off the fin. Yeah, this is turning out to be wicked. Really, really good fun. The spot's certainly working. I was really hesitant to fish this spot at the start. I have spoke to a few people, done a bit of homework, and they all said go a little bit further. But I just wasn't really happy with the spot that I found. And I'm so happy I went with my heart rather than, you know, off of what you get told. Obviously, it's really good to get local knowledge. I'm not saying that, but sometimes you just got to go with what you feel's right. If it helps you sleep at night, which it has me, then definitely that's what you got to do. 3 rods on a spot, fishing accurately. What a way to fish. It's the first common of the trip. That's also a bonus because I love a common. I ain't a bad fish at all. Wow, that lovely common that. He looks lovely. Oh my God, you're joking. Joking me. The only bit of weed in front of my swim. Oh, don't pick off your fin. Oh, mate, get in that net. Oh! Yes! Well, that was a bit of a palaver towards the end. Oh, that's a 30-pounder all day. Look at that. Oh! Wow. 35 pound and 12 ounces of Shire gold. Check him out. I know I said the last fish was perfect, but if this isn't a perfect common, then I really don't know what is. The overslung mouth, scale perfect. I'm so happy to be holding a fish like this. And if I don't catch any more for the rest of this trip, I've had the most amazing time, I've learnt loads, and yeah, I'm absolutely ecstatic. I missed the carp. You've made me a very happy angler. Get you back to your watery home now. Mwah. Cheers, mate. Oh. Yes. Happy days.
Just starting to introduce my bait for the evening. Like a nice big bucket full. Sort of typically, I love fishing over a bit of bait, especially this sort of like open water fishing. Horseshoe in particular, I've always fished over a lot of bait. This gravel pit fishing, they need to be able to see it, they need to be able to smell it. And I've got a really nice sort of mixture of bait in there. I've got some 18mm boilies that I've sort of like smashed up. So I've got some like whole boilies, you know, plenty of sort of broken up bits as well. In there I've got some mini crayfish pellets, which are a small micro pellet that absolutely stink. They just keep everything grubbing around in the peg. And then I've got my colour, which is some sweet corn that I've had soaking in some tiger nut extract. And then along with that, because the water is still fairly cold, I've put a pint of casters and a pint of maggots for a big 10-litre bucket. And that is what I'm going to introduce tonight. That's plenty of food. It's going to keep them grubbing around on that spot. You know, it's going to leak off attraction all night as well. And a lot of the bites you can get in the morning, so that'll sit there. If nothing disturbs it overnight, that will sit there and that'll be active, ready for a morning bite without me having to top up first thing. I'll never feel like I've run out of bait, so to speak. But yeah, it's perfect for this. After a quiet night last night, I was half expecting a bite. However, I woke up with no bites. There's still a bit of time yet, so the rods are still out. And I thought it'd just be sort of a good point really, just to quickly touch on sort of my sort of hardware that I'm using. You can see behind me that the wind has picked up. This has actually calmed down a little bit. It was absolutely white capping across the lake a minute ago. The rods that I'm using, they're 12 foot 3 3/4 version. That gives me plenty of power for the cast, but also make sure that I got, you know, like a nice fishing action as well. I still want like a really nice fishing rod, but you still need the power and the quality of the rod to be able to cast sort of quite a far distance out into the pond if the wind does pick up like this. I got 12,000 XE reels. Now I'm using the Exocet Pro in 20 pound. The rules here are that there is no leaders on your fishing rods. If you can cast that distance with what they call level line straight through, then absolutely fine. If not, then have a look at the Exocet Pro tapered leader line. That can give you a lower diameter main line, but with a sort of built-in shock leader for the big casts. Fishing venues like Horseshoe, where the fish can easily move, and I think that's what's happened this morning. This new big wind's come and the fish have obviously done the off. However, our session's coming to a close, but it's worth mentioning that I use a pod for this sort of fishing, just so if I'm using a barrow and I got to move quickly, I can just literally grab the pod, chuck it on the barrow, and off I go. And obviously on my pod, I got a decent bite alarm. I got a RX Plus bite alarm with a heavy duty bobbin. Now you need the weight in the bobbin. Obviously you've got a lot of line out in the pond. You want to keep a nice tight line with good bite indication, so you know that you've got a fish straight away. So if you're unsure what to use for this type of fishing, that would be my go-to setup.
If you can hear me, the conditions last night were absolutely savage, and they still are this morning. There's little caps out, white caps out there. Feels like I'm at the seaside. But we've managed to get another bite, which is absolutely brilliant. Off the baited area again. Nothing throughout the night though for me or Bart. And then just as we're starting to sort a few bits out now, we're not taking the bivvy down yet because I'll end up back at home if I start taking that off. But yeah, stood having a quick chat and the rod is absolutely peeled off. I really like Horseshoe.
Oh, Maxwell, it's all right, mate.
Oh,
You still had a 35 pound common.
oh, that's never nice, is it? Run me around, ragged, and then just boinked off down there. Wow, I must admit, I'm absolutely gutted after that little hiccup earlier. After not having anything all night, and then hoping in the early hours of this morning, going into the early morning, to have a bite. Had a bite, and yeah, snuffed him off at the net pretty much. So absolutely gutted. It would have been a good way to end it, but nonetheless, mate, it's been a wicked trip, and it's been brilliant.
Oh yeah, we've had some, as always, up here at Horseshoe Lake, and like, always good bit of fishing to be had. So if you're looking to sort of do a bit of this fishing, then get yourself up to Horseshoe, join the Carp Society. You could, you know, come and enjoy some of the fishing like what we have over the last couple of days. It's been great.
No, it's been really good. Like, it's been my first session here for a very long time, and to catch my first fish, also fish with yourself, Bart, it's been brilliant, mate. It's been awesome, and yeah, I'll be certainly getting myself back down here.
On that note, with the wind as well, we feel like the fish have moved off us a little bit, so we're probably going to knock it on the head now, call it a day. Yeah, hope you've liked the video, like what you've watched. Hopefully you can take something from it, put it into your own fishing, catch yourself a few of the sort of lovely fish that we've caught as well. If you'd like to watch any other fishing content, have a click here, there's plenty to watch.
And if you would like to watch our latest podcast, click here.
And to subscribe so you don't miss anything, click here.
Does it every time?